software is not going anywhere, and we are in the land of dinosaurs. I mean, it's insane how archaic our industry is. I'm finally seeing the shift. There is a shift in the marketplace that large contractors, everyone's trying to figure it out, and it's starting to happen.
Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond the Build, the podcast where innovation meets collaboration in the world of construction. We bring together thought leaders and industry experts to explore the cutting-edge ideas transforming construction equipment, supply chains, building materials, and workforce productivity.
This podcast is proudly brought to you by Faro, the revolutionary last-mile logistics platform, redefining how high-value, time-sensitive construction deliveries get done. Need it fast? Need it right? Faro.
Today, we're joined by Mike Murphy, president of Ally Fuels Incorporated and the founder of Nomad, a fuel management platform designed to streamline fuel tracking and optimize fuel usage for the construction industry. With over 25 years in the fueling industry, Mike has pioneered solutions that address time efficiency, cost management, and safety in construction fuel delivery. Today, we're going to dive into how technology is transforming on-site fuel management, the challenges of fuel delivery in construction, and how data-driven approaches are enhancing operational productivity for construction companies. Mike, welcome to Beyond the Build.
Guys, I am more excited than you can imagine to meet you guys and discuss this very important and, a passion of mine. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate that.
What's the story before fuel and gas for you? Like, what got you here?
You ran out of gas on the side of the road and you wished he had someone that could come fill him up.
Well, I mean, you want to know kind of my story in the fuel industry, how I got started and how I started building the software?
I'm curious a little bit more about the man before the fuel. Unless you were born into it, unless fuel runs in your blood because it's a family thing.
No, know what's funny is I'm kind of a man of many mysteries and careers. So
hit me with the mystery.
I don't know. I'm like a mini mayor here in my local town here in Redondo Beach. I love this little town. I moved away, but came back, and now I have a family here. But after college, I ended up in the Hollywood arena. I tried to be a comedy writer for almost 10 years. And I worked on some of the famous shows like Drew Carey, Full House, Family Matters, a lot of kid shows. And I tried to sell scripts, and I was a writer assistant. I worked with Norm Macdonald, Artie Lang, the Friends show I worked on. So I kind of went down a creative path for a while. And before I turned 30, I realized, hey, this is getting rough, right? To make a living. And a good friend of mine's like, you can talk to anybody. You got to get in sales. You just got to find, something in sales. Before I got into Hollywood though, I had experience in construction. I was part of I was in the operators union and also a labor union for a little while. Just trying to make ends meet. So I've always loved equipment since I was a kid. And I literally, back in my day, because I'm going to age myself right now, Craigslist was literally like LinkedIn or Indeed, okay? If you wanted to find a job, believe it or not, Craigslist was your source. And so
you posted it on the line, right?
Yeah.
On the line.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we talked about how buffering and Wi-Fi, like this is old school. You can hear it, and I went on, I go, I need to change. I'm born and raised in LA, and I don't care where I go. I just got to find something to sell. And I literally went on Craigslist, and I found an ad for a small oil company looking for a sales rep to grow. You have to be able to talk to construction guys, no experience necessary. I said, holy crap, man. And I had family in the Bay Area, in San Francisco area. And I go, I'm going to call this guy. And I did. And I set up an interview, and I was all excited. And, I know tons of people in the Bay Area, and I called a real good friend of mine. I go, hey, I'm coming up next week. Maybe I can come couple days early. We can go have fun in the city, go tear it up. And he says, great. Why are you coming up here? I'm like, I have an interview with this guy. He's got a small oil company. And, I'm going to see if I'm going to change career paths. And he's like, it just so happened this was his brother-in-law. So a friend of mine from a completely opposite area Literally, this is his brother-in-law. He's like, I'm gonna call him right now. He's your age. Like, you're gonna crush it. You already got the job. So that's how I got in the oil business. And when I got in, I fell in love with it. I doubled his company in 1 year, which I was pretty proud of, and realized, I can do this on my own. And that's what I did. I started after 1 year. I started my venture 25 something years ago in the oil business. I'm not from the oil world. A lot of these, we call ourselves jobbers. It's probably good to explain because I'll probably use a lot of terms that some people in your audience may not know. So a jobber, is a guy who delivers fuel, whether bulk fuel or construction. I focus, when I started my industry, my business, I focus on what we call wet hosing. We actually fill the equipment directly. So started doing that and focused on primarily people like Scott. The rental guys were literally my sales force. I'm like, hey, we kind of helped each other. Like if a job trailer dropped, I would tell, somebody at United, somebody at Sunbelt, right? Hey, this is dropping, get in there. Like, thanks, Murph, and it was all a collaborative kind of thing. So I really focused on the rental, like I said, and contractors directly, the large contractors, mid-size, people that are running generators, they got backhoes, skid steers, all facets, all different subs. And that's really where I focused on, is that niche. It's high service. Some of the larger jobbers really weren't good at it and still aren't. So there's always been a niche for that type of work if you want to hustle. That's where I got my start as a entrepreneur. And did that up in Northern California right when the housing boom was just crushing it in the 2000s. Of course, I owned the Central Valley, Elks Grove, Sacramento, all the way down the 80 corridor. Got in, really grew the business fast, and learned a lot. Now, what also is funny is the industry was very antiquated. There was very little software, and still is. I mean, people still write hand tickets, right? You go to a job site, you write backhoe, 30 gallons, right? You're inking everything. This is still standard across the country. I call it evolutions, and it's starting to happen now, but the software that's been out for 20 years, it's still really, there's some great ones coming out now, but it can take months to integrate all your trucks, and it was super expensive. So guys like me, we're not going to pay for that. And so I saw about 10, 15 years ago, I literally, Scott, I was on a job site and my client was in the excavator and he's like, hold on, Murph, don't fill me yet. And he was checking his phone because he had to sign a document, a DocuSign, right? Something on the job site. And I go, man, this is back when apps were big and bad, right? And I said, well, why don't we, all my customers call me. I have a spreadsheet and notes. I literally had a notebook. Every few months, I ripped through a 100-page notebook, right? And I kept these like little Bibles of all these jobs and information. And I go, there's got to be a better way. And that's really where I started building my software. I started building it to be able to upload a handwritten delivery ticket and show my customers, right? I just digitized everything. So that was the path we originally started in terms of getting into construction software. And Nomad, we call it Nomad now. And I was super excited. And I went to other jobbers all over California, the people I knew. And I said, hey, look what I built. I'll let you use it. And again, these guys are just good old boys. Like, well, we're not going to do anything like that. How much does it cost? I go, I'll give it to you for free. I don't care. So I kind of went on this journey and for a couple of years, and I just realized, hey, they don't want to play ball. So I focused primarily on the Sunbelts, the United Rentals, the equipment rental guys that I have friends and relationships with. And I just focus on the customer pain points. What do you need to make your life easier? And, to this day, everyone still lives on spreadsheets. And we're trying to get rid of that. So we built the software to basically take all their pain points and what they track, and we skin that, and we literally built Nomad to make it super easy. Our customers now can key in a job in under a minute. That sends us an alert, and then we go to work.
I want to slow down a little bit and tell the audience who's not familiar with this, right? Because everybody has their own ecosystem that they live in. And JP, I'm going to use you as an example. JP came from the Hollywood world, right? Was a director, right? When he joined Faro, he wasn't privy to the construction industry. I mean, not to pick on you, JP, when I'm like, hey, does your truck have a pintle hitch? He's like, well, what is that? It's not like, what's a mini excavator? What's like all the nomenclature that when you're in the industry, we use slang terms. We know exactly what we're talking about. Oh, I need a pettibone and I need to do all this. And like,
same
fine.
thing if I were to ask you to grab me a sticks or,
There you go. Hey, I know what you're talking. See, that's the thing.
Or
I know.
a Stinger or a C-47 or
There you go.
And so
Yeah. That's so funny.
I'm going to refer to you as Murph too, because actually that's my
please do.
That is my my mom's maiden name. So my uncle that's the same thing.
Oh,
So
I love that.
But yeah, what you're talking about is, I like how you said the job when you went for the job interview. This industry, the construction industry, the network effect is so strong. I mean, we talk about things that, digital marketing, social media, who can we influence, who can we not? Like in this industry, the network effect of legacy of who you know trumps any new technology you're coming in. This is not a B2C and like new flashy. Like if I don't know Murph and he doesn't know me and we haven't had a beer or a lunch or something like that, I'm really kind of jaded to be like, who's this new guy that's coming in and selling me this product that is fantastic that I know can solve a ton of my issues? But you know what, Murph, I'm kind of stuck in my ways. Like, it's almost like putting a scope on a rifle. No, I'm using my foresights. I know what I do. And you're like, you can dial in. Yeah, I know, but I'm not ready to put some new device on the top of my.
Got to have the CDS, man. You got to be able to click down 300 yards and hammer it.
Exactly. And what ends up happening is they know there's a better path. It's just changing the culture. And we run into that same thing where we're trying to disrupt the logistics market, right? From legacy load boards, portal to portal charge, no tracking, hourly rates, and then frankly, people that don't understand the industry, like you can't show up in a tracksuit with, Nikes on and your gold chain and point at something and think we're going to be able to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, with a hard hat with no netting in it, just the hard, just
not
the
even
plastic.
a hard hat. Like sometimes you get them to come out and they're in tank tops and
yeah.
I call them shants, the short pants that are down, and I'm like, hey man, how did you get what's that cartoon with Earl? JP, you know what it is. It's I can't remember.
Yosemite Sam?
No,
maybe I'm aging myself.
Oh man, it's right in my brain. But anyways,
so good.
But yeah, you just don't fit the part, and
That's
people
right.
are willing to basically flex, but you got to have standards. And
Yeah.
when you're going into this, like you're creating this easy button, right? Where to your point, hey, we can log a ticket, and maybe advancing some of the things that you guys are already working on, where even having a digital image of what you filled up. Now the process comes in to your point, the guy on the excavator, he's got to stop digging so that you can wet fill it. Or they have a holding take on the project where they can drive over and grab it themselves, and that timing. And the problem is, do I need fuel? Like, it's not until you need it, then you're like, okay. And Murph will probably back me on this, is poor planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on mine, but I understand where now all of a sudden you got your trucks lined up for a job site and one of your quote unquote best customers says, Murph, dude, I need you to do me a solid. I didn't realize my 1,000-gallon tank is down to like 30 gallons and I got 2 machines that need to be up and running in the next 30 minutes. How can you pull a miracle off? And you're like, whew.
And I'm going to show you guys really quick on the screen. I built 4 buttons, right, for fat fingers or gloves. You can add a job, add an order. There you go. You're spinning around that excavator, and you need an order. Just hit the buttons, man, and then we're going to work.
I have a dumb question.
Yeah.
So with fuel gauges on these big machines, like, why is it such an issue that they're like, oh crap, now I'm out of fuel? wouldn't they know sooner? Like, is
Yeah,
it just like they don't pay attention?
Here's the
Because
thing.
you're saying that a machine's burning what 300 gallons a day or something. 1,000-gallon tank should be refilling every 3 days.
I mean, listen, there's experience involved. Like I've got these big
Yeah.
foundation guys. Scott knows them, right? These big guys that are drilling 60-foot, for foundations for large warehouses. We're hitting those every day, right? You have experience. Like, hey, I know you're going to need every day. You got a compressor that's going to burn a ton of fuel, and after 12-hour shift, it's going to be empty. So, and there's telematics. So what's happening in the industry?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is telematics?
Yeah,
It's like, do you have it where you
telematics-
have like the machine talks to the system?
Right. And so just like Scott and I were briefly talking about with rental software, like the whole industry from where I see now, and I've been at this for 10 years, and Scott is absolutely right. I'm just a small guy. I consider myself a pirate because I'm running around. No one really knows me except my local regions, right? But I know I built something, especially for the rental guys, any mid-sized, large, big guys. I built something that they've been using for 8 years. I've solved 90% of their pain points right now. It's being used daily across the country. But what I see as valuable is the whole industry is all about, there's some great software out there, and it's all about integration. Telematics, CAT, Hitachi, they all have now smart equipment. I mean, there's even the software Smart Equip, right? I've talked to those guys. So I believe there's going to be the revolution that started right now, and especially what you guys are doing is going to be about integration. It's going to be about, hey, what do you have in that stack, in that workflow that's going to be essential for a contractor, for a rental team, anyone that needs fuel? Like, how do you track all this stuff? Besides a jobber, there's something called a broker, okay? And we call this pushing paper. And literally, it is what's happened for 40 years. We push paper. I can call a friend of mine in Arizona, another fueler, another jobber, going, hey, I have a customer in your area for 3 months. Do you mind hitting this for me? What are your rates, right? We broker it. We push that paper. So that jobber will do the jobs, and send me the invoices. Then I obviously send the invoice to the customer. And that's traditional brokering. I have put this layer where I can have him do it. He doesn't even have to be integrated to my software. If he's got software, great. If he can send me those digital tickets, those delivery tickets like I mentioned, or he can't, if he sends that invoice to our system, we are already using AI. We can read it. We can upload it into our system for, once again, these contractors that are nationwide. They're in multiple states. They've got one place where their estimators can go, where their project managers can go to see, oh, Murph's on a job in Huntington Beach for 3 weeks. He can click on, again, a carbon report, right, on all the gallons he did. This is what's missing in the industry. People are doing it, again, by spreadsheets. And I'm not a math guy. I've got dyslexia. Like, I can't stand numbers. But I realize the industry is looking for those pain points to be answered. And the revolution is just starting. I think what you guys, just these communications, people are taking notice, but I feel like this is really the year the pendulum is just swung. Like, it's now open. People are starting to realize you got to integrate with telematics. You got to integrate with maybe a jobber has a great software. There's some really good software for jobbers out there, but it's all about connecting, and it's really hard. People are just like, well, why should I connect to your software? Why? Well, because the industry is going to demand it. I feel like contractors that you guys are working with, and I'm going to be working with, they're going to push the narrative harder than ever before, because you can order a burger and fries and see it tracked to your home, and it'll tell you when it's dropped off. You can't do that for 20,000 gallons of fuel. It's just not there. The workflow is not there yet. It's insane to me, but that's what I think is coming, and I think it's coming sooner than later.
And that's where we actually kind of pivot in as well too. Like, we took that concept of being able to get your burger and fries instantly, but then we also said, we got to right size this, because my issue when I was in rental, to spin out of fuel, was I would have a contractor that needed a piece of equipment. Like, I'll tell my story, right? Flying into San Francisco at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning. I take an Uber to the job site. I get a mechanical contractor that comes up and asks me for a 161 hog head. So for people that aren't in it's basically the size of, smaller than a carry-on suitcase, and says, hey, I need this. I got 5 guys, $90 an hour. We need this. Do you have it? And I'm like,
Yeah. And the guys
Call
are
my
sitting.
store.
That's the big thing. The guys are waiting and
they're
they're
waiting.
getting paid
They're
while they're
sitting
waiting.
there and they're
Oh, yeah.
waiting because something happened. Maybe theirs broke. But I
Right.
had one in Concord. And those in the Bay Area know how long it's going to take to get from downtown to Concord and back. So my location was like, yes, we have one, but we can't get it to you till tomorrow until 12 because we already have our logistics, spent. And it's 9:00 Monday morning, right? So the contractor's like, wait a second, I got to seal this wall up. I got to do this. So his option was send somebody from the job both ways. And I'm like, man, we should be able to Uber this. There's probably a guy that just got through Taco Bell, right? Can stop in, grab this, and then hot shot it over and make some money. But then my operational brain came in and said, well, this is not the same environment. No pun intended to anybody that drives Uber. But if you show up and you're in, let's say, board shorts and sandals and holding your Taco Bell cup, like, number one, are you going to get out of the vehicle and walk into a location and say, I'm here for this product? Number two, I'm sitting on the rental counter going, I'm giving this random individual a $6,000 piece of equipment. And then, oh, by the way, the back end is that vehicle is not going to be able to get within 3,000 yards of a commercial PP required job site and find this person. So I'm like, in concept, totally works. Practical, we got some major holes in the boat we got to shore up before we sail this thing.
Have you guys like, man, there's so many haulers, Scott, that you guys have used, right? These haulers that haul generators and equipment. I can see them. They must be super excited to join your platform because a lot of times they're waiting, they're like, man, are they calling me or Johnny down the road, right? There's that competition of it and, let the cream rise to the top. I'm sure they're pretty excited about it.
No, they are really excited about it. And that's the thing too. It's like, we're able to carry the insurance. We do the tracking. We do all the mess because all they want to do is drive. That's what they do really well. And we're handling all the back end. Going back to that story too, let's say I didn't have to, this product. The only option for the rental company was like, okay, do I call a salesperson in and stop their sales calls? Does the manager, an ISR, a tech, or somebody that should be wrenching or doing something else go? Or what we used to do most of the time is going, well, we can put it on this semi truck where you've got like literally a tiny suitcase on the poop deck because that's the only resource you have going to a job site. It's just like it's not efficient. So like you were talking about fuel, it's like I want a burger and fries and I'm going to have an oil tanker show up. It's like, no,
exactly.
Like I
100%.
don't need, how many gallons those hold. It's like, I only need like 500 gallons. Do not send me, a semi.
And you found this just because of the pain and trying to answer a customer's need and seeing like, wow, there's such inefficiency here. We can do something better.
2 standpoints. I was looking, one is our delivery recovery was terrible because we only had X amount of resources. And I knew that we had our brand recognition. Big rental companies, you only see like the ads because the equipment's on site and everybody knows it. And then it wasn't until like I was looking at my P&L and saying, hey, how can I cost cut my expenses into profitability? I'm always a revenue driver. And I'm like, I want to be able to have my sales team say yes more frequently.
Yes, 100%.
I want my contractors to call in and say, I need an air compressor. I've got an emergency. Can you get it to me? And I didn't want the response to be like, well, let me check with dispatch and I think we can get it there in 4 hours and let me see what I can do. And, I want to, because our industry, traffic light, is the duration of which decisions are made. That period. And I wanted our teams to be like, hey, you need a compressor? Glad you called. I got 7 sitting on the line. Could get it there in about an hour. It's going to cost you, a higher rate. But they're looking at, they're going, 3 guys standing around plus my, there you go.
Pain.
Just send it.
Yep.
And we're like, boom.
Love that. That is
that's why
amazing.
we built it.
Yeah. And listen, I'm sure, how long has it been running? How long has your platform?
We've been in market for 2 years. We built the product. We built the technology. We launched in Phoenix in 2000 and what year are we in, JP? 2025 in 23. we did our beta market there, and then within the first year, after the first year, we launched into Texas, and within 3 months, we were already exceeded the amount of revenue we did in the first year. So the adoption period and watching people spin up. The question, and I'm going to ask you as from the fuel side, is we all know that there's great services, great products that have been around for more than a decade. Where does the pendulum swing between the brand recognition and the adoption?
I think that is the hardest bridge to cross right there, because what I'm finding is I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, a big contractor. He's like, you know what, man, we don't care about software. We don't care. I go, you do. Somebody in your company does care. It's a project manager, it's an estimator, because I'm telling you, this pain point of I just had a call before our call, and it was a large contractor, and my driver, my own personal fuel company here in LA, my driver stuck the delivery ticket, right? That is digitized now, but he left a receipt on the job and he stuck it on probably their excavator and it flew off at night or whatever. He doesn't know where the ticket is. So I'm like, dude, just tell your estimator, just go on the platform. It's there. The ticket. He's like, oh, that's right. All right, I'll call the office and it's there. She's like, I already got it. Don't worry about it. Like I'm changing the game in terms of like just the slow process, but it's hard, man. The recognition, I've been doing this for 10 years, like behind the scenes growing, and just instead of focusing on making money, and I hate to say that, like it's really been about just trying to answer the pain points, especially rental. Like you tell me, Scott, what's the hardest thing in rental is to make money. You know, the competition out there renting equipment, everyone knows everyone's rates. So you tell me what's the easiest way to increase revenue profitability for any branch? In my opinion, it's fuel. Most of your equipment is ran by what? Diesel fuel. So if you have your sales force saying, we can now manage fuel, that is a game changer, I think, in any area. And I think that's where the value add is. And, you know, we've done grassroots level growth. And I don't want to mention names, but there's some very large rental companies. You know, we're in 20 branches from a very large rental company right now across the country. And that's from grassroots. That's literally from a branch manager going, hey man, have you heard of what's happening in Denver or in LA? Like they're using this thing. I don't know, give this guy a call. And I can get that team up and running in a day. Like, here's your login. Let's have a 30-minute video call and I'll show you how easy it is to add a job. And they go, oh, this is a game changer, man. Like we are, but it's hard, man. We are, like, I sell diesel fuel, dinosaur blood, and I am in the land of dinosaurs. Like, I do feel like the pendulum is swinging, but it's slow. And I think that customers, the rental and contractors, the large ones and the mid-sized ones they're going to tell the jobbers like me, you need to integrate, software, you need to integrate. There's going to be a mesh of software for contractors that are going to use your service. They're going to use my service. And who's going to win that game? Who's going to be that marketplace hub? I don't know. I think I've told our team, either people are going to log into our software or somebody else's. Like the race is on right now. And I think that we have a use case, and the buzzword right now is AI, right? Everyone talks about AI. But if you don't have a workflow dialed in for using agents, what are we talking about here?
Oh, we're embracing the AI, our industry and what we're doing. I wouldn't say we're insulated, but at the same time, we're not worried about the AI only to enhance, because we still need an actual human to deliver something from A to B. And you guys have all seen the robot challenges, right? Playing basketball, kicking soccer balls, or even frying pans. Like, those are controlled environments. A construction job site to a robot is like, how do you navigate Mars? There's so many edge cases. And JP, when you were doing deliveries and stuff, you got to see firsthand where you're like, oh, okay, where do you need this put?
Yeah,
like
there's a lot of variability, and there's it's not as easy as putting putting an address in and
No.
saying this is where it goes.
And the rental side, I really do. I am so confident. We got 90% of that workflow dialed in. The contractors, we're now, I think we're about 50 to 75% of their pain points. But there is so much. It's so dynamic. There's just so many variables. Like, I think, when I talk to large contractors, I say, well, Murph, what's the answer? I go, the answer is a multi-layer answer. You need fuel management across the country. Why are you opening up credit apps to 100 fuel vendors? Just do it all in-house. But you need those local guys. You need guys like me that know what they're doing, and you want them happy. You don't want to squeeze them. These traditional brokers out there, all they want to do is squeeze the local vendor. We don't want to do that. We want to make people happy, right? If they're going to deliver fuel for us, because I know I don't like the brokers coming in and taking my accounts and saying, you know what, Murph, you're going to do it now. That's the traditional broker model, is just crush the guy doing the work. We don't want to do that. I mean, that's why, when I went to all these traditional brokers and I tried to license the software, they're making money hands over fist. Like, why? I'm just going to keep using my spreadsheet. But, and that's the whole reason why we started Ally Fuels. Ally Fuels is our nationwide. It pretty much had to validate the software and validate that I know what I'm talking about. Like, customers want this. So you're not going to license it? Great. Murph the Pirate, is going to build his own nationwide fuel management brokerage firm. And that's what we did 2 or 3 years ago. And we are about to really get bananas. It's really about building the right team. And, we are in discussion with some large contractors. And I think that I'm excited about it. I think they need it more than they know. I mean, the guys up top, the C-suite guys in these contractors' offices, and even the branch guys, the rental guys, they don't know what their guys down in the trenches need. They don't, and I think that's what we know best. We know that they need fuel, and they know how to, the up top need the estimators. Man, there's so much good pre-con software out there. There's platforms now, if you're bidding a job and you're a GC, there's platforms you can upload all your, plans, right? The concrete guy, the rebar, the mechanicals, but there's nothing for fuel. And fuel for large projects are some of the biggest expenses for the life cycle of the job. And the way it's done now is crazy.
I wanted to jump in because there's a gap in my understanding. There may be some for those listening. Could you break it down in like the kind of the big chunks? Like, where are the biggest inefficiencies that you're looking to solve? Where's the money that is just leaking out the side of the truck or the boat or whatever?
I think it's just the entire life cycle, right? So even before a job starts, the estimators are doing their job and they're estimating concrete, this and that, but they're not focused on fuel. They just don't even focus on fuel.
They put basically a variant saying, okay, what's the cost of the project?
Yeah.
So one part of your software is accurate calculation of that?
Listen, so what we think is going to happen and what we're starting to work on with contractors is, you tell me a job, right? Type it in, manually key it or whatever into our system. We will give you a formal quote that before the job starts. And when the job starts, you click, it's ready to rock. And then guess what? All your invoices, whether it's in Ohio, Nebraska, Hawaii, all your invoices, without you touching anything, without you, finding a local vendor to get fuel, signing up a credit app, all those invoices get thrown into the platform without you doing anything else. It's just there. You can click on the reports. You have what you need to end and close that job. All those invoices live in the platform. And that's, now all these traditional brokers, they have spreadsheets for you, like it's crazy. Or they'll give you a Google sheet to fill out.
Yeah, and again, it's a very complex ecosystem when you're looking at a job, because when we're talking about, even from an estimating standpoint, you can look at jobs that are 24, 36, 48 months, and you guys see how the fuel prices adjust at the pumps and whether you're buying bulk. So the only really way you can do it is look at it as an average and saying, okay, how many operators are we going to have on this project, and start looking at from a man-hour percentage, Because if I know I have X amount of operators doing this many hours, that means the machine is running at, let's say, a 20% load. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to factor in this many operators by this many machines and this burn. And I'm going to say the fuel price is fluctuating between this point and this point. Let's go on the high side. Let's budget in this amount of money and hope that we can grind it down, because every operator is different in terms of how they throttle the RPM. Like some people dig a trench faster than the others, right? You can have a guy on a backhoe that can get you, however many linear feet and half the speed of someone that's brand new.
That's right. I mean, I think that it's in the infancy in terms of the workflow and the pain points, right, for contractors. For rental, we know we've got 8 years of use case. I'm saving every branch 30 hours a week. Scott, if you start doing that math, 30 hours a week.
That's a tangible for sure.
So you're really compounding that, aggregating that across the nation. That's big. But again, I'm the small pirate, and people listening out there right now, this software has been running for 8 years. We are a self-funded machine, but we are really looking to get that corporate understanding. And yes, like I don't have to sell it anymore. I can give you 20 of your own team members that have used this for 8 years. Why don't you ask them how it works? Why don't you ask them how easy it is? And if I unplugged it, how would that feel? You're going to go back to the 1998 spreadsheet, and you're good luck.
It's productivity. It's labor productivity that's driving the cost or the savings. Is like, how do we be more productive, whether it's AI, whether it's technology? Because at the end of the day, I think we all agree, it's a service-based industry. Right. And I'm going to pick on rental because this is just my opinion, but like rental companies are a bank. That's really what they are. Right. They buy capital assets, and then they have a service to go, say, use it, bring it back, rinse and repeat. So everything we're doing is like service related. And even fuel, I can tell you from the rental companies, like it's not a product that like we're looking because we get a return on an asset that we can rent for 7 months and we're going to pay it off. The fuel portion of it is like, no, this is something we need to operate the unit. But now if it comes back empty, we've got to bill the customer, and the rates in which we bill the customer is now a battle between a relationship and saying, well, why don't you fill it up? And I think now it comes to that point where even in rental, it's like, no, I would prefer not to do this. And you do it yourself and bring it back like a rental car. Like I gave it to you full, bring it back full. Like I don't want to argue with you about this. Just do your part. And then at the end of the day too, they're like, well, I don't want to do my part. And so the real, I think, tipping point is, how do you give people a self-service product that is, automated? Right, like I want it to just do what it does, where I have to look at it, but I want control of it. But I don't want to do the manual control. I want it to do it for me.
Listen, I've been at it for 10 years, and I thought I had this great epiphany. I told people, I don't want to change your relationship. I just want to add a layer of technology. And these good old boys on these job chairs, like, layer of technology, Murph, whatever, man, beat it. It's been a battle, but I'm telling you, the shift is here.
Is there any big aha moment that where you were selling a customer, trying to sell a customer, and you finally see the penny drop, and they're like, and you what's kind of that standout success story?
Well, like Scott mentioned, you guys have pivoted, right? You guys are going down your road, and you have an MVP that works and tests. You get excited. We did the same thing, and jaws were dropping. This is amazing, and they start using it. But I think, and we've had multiple of those pivots. Like, man, I started with the mobile thing for jobbers, right? Trying to solve their front end software problems. Now that didn't take. And what's funny is, I did that 10 years ago, and now last 5 years, there's been new software companies out there trying to answer that question. I'm like, oh, I already solved that 5 years ago. And in fact, today, I'm allowing local jobbers in the Los Angeles area to use my dispatch and mobile version for free for an entire year, just to do a use case. I'm not charging them, but because these software, the SaaS is expensive. And if you're a small jobber, man, that's a lot of money out the door just to send a digital ticket. Go back to pivoting. I'd say 2 years ago, the whole thing was, man, nobody wants to play ball. Nobody wants to log into our platform. Like, Murph, I don't care. Just get the job done. And I literally woke up one night going, you know what the thing, and I called my co-founder, Chris Black, guy's a genius. And I said, can you read an invoice if it's sent via an email? He's like, yeah, that's easy, man. I can get on that right now. So that was the huge epiphany where we go to these rental companies or contractors and go, look, I named it Ally for a reason. I want to be your ally. I have pumped millions of gallons for these old fat Irish fingers, okay? I know what you guys need, and it doesn't matter any part of the country. I'll align myself with a jobber who does this well and wants the work. Now, the reward on that is when he's done, he's going to send me an invoice, and even without any integration, he's going to ping that email to me, and I'm going to put it in the platform where you don't have to touch anything. You're done. You add the job, you're done. Then you're just going to watch all those invoices pop into the platform without you doing anything. And by the way, your guy in the ground on the job may not care, but your estimator, your project managers are going to care when, the state of California asks for your carbon reports for your fuel, like, or anything like, hey, okay, we need to see your fuel usage on this, or just understand what your equipment, I've had so many great conversations with, telematic companies, CAT, you can just follow the life cycle of a piece of equipment on fuel usage today. Like the data's already there, but who's going to win that? Because it's going to be about data. You're really going to want to know when that CAT excavator goes out to market, when it's going to run 8 to 10 hours a day, it's going to burn 80 to 120 gallons a day. Okay. But you got to have that report for the state for all these carbon, these big mega projects that are going on, which is another nightmare in terms of trying to figure out the workflow on that. I mean, it's such a dynamic, and it's a bird's nest, man, of craziness. You guys see it. There's so many variables in trying to figure out this workflow, but the big pivot was that, like, it's all about evolutions, right? Our first evolution is you don't have to integrate. Just send me. The only thing that's going to change in your life is you got to send that email to me. That's it. That's our first integration. Second integration is, do you guys want to use our dispatch or software, or would you, if you have software, if you can API integrate into us, so when your driver hits that, I'm going to complete it on my software, it shoots to ours. That's our big push now. But really, we're going to the customers, we're going to the rental, we're going to the contractors saying, let's have a meeting with this local guy you like, this jobber, and say, hey, just send us the invoices or send us that API connection, or let's talk to some of these manufacturers like Scott, we talked about, let's talk to these rental software companies and let's get integrated. The workflow's there. These reservation tickets pop in, right?
How nice would it be just to have like a, fuel management checkbox? Yep, we're going to do it. That's done.
When I look at rental, especially, I keep going back to rental because I know it so well in terms of their pain points, but you got to make more money, right? It's all about the profitability of every branch. And I'm sorry,
it is. And it's changed so much. So I'm going to take you guys back to the rental where, we have our large fuel tank, right? And to get technical, JP, there's off-road fuel with, what Murph does, and there's on highway. So it's like red dye versus not, like, you're like, which ones go in? Oops, I put it in the wrong one. So that's a whole nother topic. But we have these tanks, right? And we monitor the fuel every day. We have to go out and we have to log, okay, what's the new rate of the fuel? And we write it on the spreadsheet. And did the yard guy actually bring it in? Or can you even read what he wrote? Or did he do the wrong date? But then all of a sudden you have to check in every piece of equipment, right? Dragger picks it up, says, okay, here's the gauge. And then someone's actually got to fill it up. And then you had these little handwritten tickets that the yard person would check in 30 pieces, put them in his back pocket, right? And then 3 hours later, they would come in and drop them on a dispatcher and be like, oh, you can close these out. Mechanics already been working on it. It's already on the ready line, everything, but the system shows that it's still not available. And you're trying to book reservations. A lot of the big people, they've already kind of solved that through these automated like PDAs where they type in the stuff. And now all of a sudden, the software integration is, to your point, like, and I loved how you said we don't forget about the people that actually do the work. And that's how our platform's set up as well too. We pay our haulers more just because at the end of the day, they're the one interfacing, they're the one doing the work. We want to make sure that partnership is solid and they feel they're valued. Because as you know, from a jobber perspective, hey, you can put in this software, it's great, but there has to be somebody that physically does it. And if they sleep in, or they're like, yeah, my urgency is this, or, I'm going to be a jerk on the job site, or whatever it is, the whole relationship gets, foobarred. And now you're trying to basically put it in, and you're like, okay, so it's like, how do we take care of where we're not trying to just be the bank and seeing how much return can we make on this? But it's like, no, let's meet people where they're at, develop these relationships, right? Like you said, be an ally. Pharaoh means to carry the burden in Latin. It's like, we're trying to work with you to get better.
Yeah.
And you know what? None of us have a crystal ball how this is all going to play out, but it's here, right?
We do. We all have them. We're just all of them are wrong.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a journey. And if you don't have tough skin in this business and trying to solve really legitimate problems, good luck. You're going to lose quickly. You got to have tough skin. You got to have thick skin, and you really got to be passionate about solving customer problems. That's my number one goal. I do have a big ego. I like to talk. I like to tell people how rad I am. But the bottom line is, if I'm not paying attention to what the customer needs, I'm going to lose too. And I think I'm excited about that. I think that I just think the industry is finally paying attention. Like having you guys, popping up on my LinkedIn feed. I'm like, oh, these guys are rad. I got to talk to them. Because I think there needs to be discussion because that's how you're going to solve problems, is talking stuff through. My wife tells me all the time, we got to talk more, and I'm like, well, I like to talk about fun stuff.
She tells you that?
Yeah. Well, she's worse than I am in terms of talking, but getting down to the nuts and bolts, right? Getting down to what bothers you, it takes layers of that. And that evolution, I keep saying there's evolutions. Like Scott, when I started this, the evolution was, the first one was going to a rental counter and being able to put my sales card on that counter. Because when guys walked in, hey, I need fuel, man. I'm renting a generator from you. Call Murph. There's his card.
The funny thing is there was an evolution. I told somebody a story, like, when I was with United, we actually had a manager meeting where we brought a customer in, and this was back when we all fought with each other. And the running joke was, the customer opened up his business card folder and he goes, which United sales rep am I going to use? Because we were all undercutting each other and we worked for the same company. So the business card thing, and even to this day, I kind of repivoted. I wouldn't say I'm a huge innovator, but I ditched the business card. When the cell phones, even when we were back in Nextel, and JP, we're dating ourselves too. Like when you said first started, hey, the Craigslist, then you get the job, then you got the map book, right? Then you're doing your quadrants and your zones. But I went to one of my customers, and I didn't leave a card. I was like forceful. I'm like, give me your phone. I literally plugged my phone number into his phone. Because even when you're out on the job site, you're like, oh, let me run back to the job trailer and find my business card. You're like, no, today you're going right to your contacts in your phone, and you're doing it something unique. You're telling Siri, hey, call this, and it pulls up. I literally still it was probably about 6 years ago, get a random phone call out of the blue, right? And I've been out of the sales for like over 15 years. He calls me up and he's like, Scott. I'm like, yeah. He's like, it's Gene. I'm like, Gene. He's like, yeah. He tells me the company. I was like, yeah. He's like, you saw my number. He's like, yeah, I need a forklift. And I'm like, really? He's like, I still had you on my phone. I'm like, oh, the business card? He's like, no, I just called Scott UR. Like, that's who my contact was.
But did you take care of him, Scott, even though you're out of the game? You did. Yeah, I knew you would.
I was like, hey, man, what state are you in right now?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Like, what do you need? When do you need it? He's like, yep. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to have someone call you. Because he doesn't want to call. He doesn't want, I'm not even like, again, legacy, I have relationships everywhere. I'm still going to promote. And I'm like, hey, stand by. I'm going to basically text somebody really quick. They're going to get on you and get you taken care of.
Love that. And that's the old school. Yeah,
old school, man.
And you can't teach that. It really is something in you. Like if you really want to solve a problem and help people, I think salespeople are helpers. They're like nurses out in the job site. That's what we are, man. You got a problem. We're going to help you take care of it. We're going to nurse you back to health and happiness.
That's good. But when we talked operations, we were just actually with a customer too. And we were with the ops people and telling them about the service. So we come up with acronyms in the business all the time. And a while back, I came up with SPT. sales prevention team. That's what the sales team would say to the operations. Operations is always telling you what they can't do and when they can do it. So, to pick on operations, we were like, okay, what did the sales prevention team tell you that they couldn't do? But then to defend operations, we were like, salespeople wants to put everybody together. And my analogy was like the submarine, gunner. Like all they want to do is blow things up. And they're like, you're not even within range yet. If you launch this missile and blow it up into the ocean, all you're doing is giving away our position and you've hit nothing. So you need to communicate with operations and figure out what our range is before you hit the button, rather than just saying, I just want to blow things up. It's like, stop for a second.
And it's so complex. It is there's such a complexity of operations, sales, and customer needs, and how to make it more efficient. And it's exciting, but it's also it's a lot of work, man. It is. I mean, I know you guys have seen it.
The network effect, I think, is going to basically get us to that next level, because as you're out doing what you do to innovate and get them to adopt a new way of thinking, they're going to be in another situation. And that's where we're going to help each other out when they're pulling their hair out and they're like, man, I got to get this, fitting from somewhere, and I'm going to have to send this guy. And you're like, hey, man, why don't you just Faro it?
Yeah.
And they're like,
No,
what's that? And then
I've got three.
uses it.
Well, I've got three transport. Are you guys here in LA already? You guys are already.
Yeah,
doing-
we are. We're in
Okay.
SoCal, yeah.
Yeah, I've got three local haulers that help me. Like they just hauled a 500-gallon fuel cell down to Huntington Beach. Got a big job. So I've got three guys. If they don't know about it, like they're awesome. They're doing heavy hauls. They've got, and they're always looking for more work, man. They're always waiting for that phone to ring. So I've got three guys literally that I'm going to tell them all about that. And I got
shoot me. We're connected on LinkedIn, Mike. Shoot me their info. I
will.
run the op side of things, so that's enticing to me for sure.
I've got 4 transpo guys in LA right now. 4 that I can give you.
We can't do anything hazmat. So, and this industry better. It's like, for our trucks, I believe we could do up to 1,000-gallon tank, but it's got to be clean. No vapors, no anything.
A lot of our guys use their personal trucks. A lot of these guys own their own just half-ton, three-quarter-ton, 1 tons. And if they're not busy and they got one of those, that's where we come into play. Throw a pintle hitch on that thing, grab a generator from a United Rentals, and zoop, you're making some money.
I have 2 haulers right now doing work for me for a rental company. We have to actually unhook a generator. I don't want to say the name of the company, but a very large box store warehouse company across the world. They don't want fueling on their premises, so we have to hook it up, haul it to go get fuel, haul it back every day, 7 days a week. So I've got 2 transpo guys. I'm paying them. They're super happy. They're like, man, thank God you called me, Murph, man. I'm slow. I go, dude, you guys got to diversify. Like, well, how about I get in fuel? I go, no, don't touch my fuel, but I'm like you, Scott, like I'm always trying to help. And this is definitely something that they need to look at because they're hungry. There's a lot of hungry guys trying to keep their trucks busy, man.
If haulers, if you're out there, this isn't a dig on you, but call it a constructive criticism, because we have guys that are hungry, happy, and helpful. Then we have those guys that just complain. So if you find yourself complaining, that's not the same. We want someone who doesn't just say, oh, where are the loads? The money's no good, whatever. It's like, no, how else can you contribute and be a part of the solution? And those guys always it's the cream. It rises to the top. We have over 1,000 haulers that have been accepted onto our platform. Mike, if you were to guess of the thousands of orders that we've done, how many haulers of that 1,000 hauler pool, how many of those haulers have done more than 25 loads with us?
How many? You have 1,000 right now?
1,000 haulers that have been brought onto the platform and are all able and have access to work.
I'd say 60, 75%.
45 haulers.
Wow.
That's it. 45 of our haulers are responsible for probably 90+% of the deliveries because they've got the hunger, they've got the drive, they're committed, they're awesome. So it's something that is completely surprising to me, just like you. You think, oh yeah, you got so many people on the platform, that must mean everybody's, work is like, no, it's kind of the opposite. It's the guys that are really hungry and committed. They're the ones doing all the work. And then we get these guys who are like, where are all the loads? Like, well, the loads get accepted within 5 seconds. That's how quick an order gets placed and accepted. And and you're just not fast enough. You don't have the hunger that these other guys do. Yeah.
That's the evolution of business. If you don't answer your phone, then tough luck, dude. You're out. Like, there's no emotion, no crying in baseball. Like, just answer your phone and go hustle. Like, if you want to be a true entrepreneur, that's what it takes. It takes 24/7. It's, I sleep, I think about Nomad, I think about jobbers, I think about, how do I keep going? How do I make it to where they can't get rid of me? They need me, right? That's all I think about. And if you don't have that mindset, I just go get a 9-to-5 job, But back to your point about pain, I see it every day. I still see contractors and rental companies living on spreadsheets. They're just manually force feeding fuel management to a point where it just makes me sick because, this thing's been running for 8 years but they still, I don't know, it ain't broke, so why fix it? Well, do you want to save 30 hours a week? Do you want to be able to tell your boss you can just click on this report and you're done?
Yeah, I don't think there's much more frustrating than knowing you have the better solution.
I mean, but I think the infancy's here. You guys have something like, and I'm sure you guys, the roadblocks are probably endless. Well, why do I need to use, the rental company will come pick it up. No, dude, like
Well, the industry doesn't know how to classify us.
Oh, interesting.
So based on where we're at, and I'll give you some technical terms, is everything is ran by the Federal Motor Carrier, FMCSA, right? Do you have a broker number? Are you a carrier? What's your MC, DOT, right? Well, these companies like us, we're called a TNC, a transportation network company that are managed by the state. So we don't really actually technically fall under federal regulation, but the big enterprises, they don't know what to do with us. So when you get a contract, they're like, well, what's your MC number? What's your, broker number? What's this? And we're like, well, we have all that stuff, but it's not relevant to what we're actually doing. So the industry and the regulation still even has to catch up. But the legacy users are like, well, our onboarding contracts are written this way. Our insurance brokers look at this way. Even though, yes, you're more efficient, you're even faster, way more productive for us. This piece of paper has to be filled out this way. And we're just like, well, that piece of paper is indirectly causing what you turn in as your financials. And I mean, it's part of the industry. Like you said in the movies where it's like, nope, you can't touch the light. And it's like, someone's going to have to come in to your point and say, hey, I'm taking away your ability to use a spreadsheet. An owner, an innovator, someone wants to rise at the top with their competition is saying, hey, guess what? I can afford more jobs because I've adopted this technology and I've literally taken it away from my people and saying, no, you can't continue to use the rotary phone with the dial. We just took them all off the wall. We're not doing that anymore.
That's you nailed it. I mean, that's where we're at right now. And I think that the people that are going to keep grinding to get to that next level, that's the people are going to win. I think you guys, it's all about niches too, right? You're in a niche, but it's not a small niche. It's it's a need. Number one, you're not blowing, smoke up somebody. Like it's a need. You guys know it's out there. And I feel like what we have is a need too. It's just, how do you get those big wins? How do you get that traction and getting noticed? Like people in the world, do they know Ally Fuels and my software? Not really. We've had our head down.
That's the thing that we struggle with all day long, is because we do use a term like we stay in our lane, logistics. Like we're not trying to be everything to everybody. But at the same time, these type of products that you have, that we have, people aren't actively looking for them. Like we can't go to the social mount or the Google and say, oh, hey, you know what? I'm looking for a software program for my fueling, or, hey, I need to get something moved. Let's type it into Google or somebody, or even now ChatGPT, and tell me who's there. Like they're not searching for it.
I mean, listen, I got to go to Huntington Beach because I got to go drop some grease and a pallet of DEF on a job site because my guys are running around, right? So I'm going to go do it after this call. I'm going to just take my truck, go to Dion and Son in Long Beach, go pick it up. And because I'm not on Faro, but my buddy who owns a transpo, he just dropped my 500-gallon tank on a job site, and I mean, it's all about relationships. And what I like about the construction industry, and Scott, early on this conversation, you nailed it. Like, it is a small world, man. Everyone kind of knows each other, and like, hey, don't don't call that guy after 5 o'clock. He's already crushing beers, or like everyone knows the players and, the guys that really take care of people, and it's about relationships. And I think that, like I said, integration is the biggest term that is going to be in all of our faces. What you guys are doing and what I'm doing, it's all going to be about integration. How are we all going to meet into some kind of hub marketplace, or because we all are needed? It's just, are we valued yet? Where's that pendulum? I think the pendulum, like I said, is just starting to move in our favor because these customers need it. It's just getting that yes, getting the continual yeses and then the traction.
Yeah, and I'll leave it with this too. When we talk about integration, we still need to make sure that we are human with it, right? Where sometimes we're getting too far into the technology that we lose the human side, and that's what we like to say at Faro too. We're a human company that utilizes technology, because a perfect example, working for a large enterprise, we had so many great initiatives from a technology and an integration, which were developed by very, very smart people that had very limited time in the trenches. So what would happen is they would take an initiative and work on it for 12 months and say, we're doing this. This is going to change the way we do business. And then you try to roll that out to, let's say, 800 plus stores. And 6 months later, go, how are we doing? And they're like, only 5% of the stores are using your new fancy, and then it gets buried, and then another initiative comes in. And so what you did is you just spent 2 years trying to do something. And if you're not selling the people that have to hit the button and you're telling them this is how it improves your life, old habits die hard, and they're going to go back to their legacy until a district, a region, or an ops excellent person is going to walk in and going, what happened? Why are you using this product? It's been out for 6 months. And they're going to be like, because I don't use it. And then when they leave, they're going to go right back to what they're doing again.
That's our biggest challenge. And the good news, I think that what we did is the guys, the boots on the ground, the guys and girls that are using our product every day, they love it. It's now the corporate office. Those are the people that need to be convinced, not by me, but by the people that are using it on their own team for 8 years or 5 years or 2 months, because then that's the hardest thing. It's getting those C-suite presentations and meets saying, hey, don't take my word for it. Let's go talk to one of your branches, or let's go talk to this contractor, this estimator who goes, I have one estimator. I love the guy. And for 5 years, he didn't want to go on the platform, but he knew it was there. Until 2 weeks ago, I go, you know what, man, you keep calling me. How about we do this? I'm getting let's do a FaceTime. I'm going to log in with my dumb phone and my desk. I'm going to show you your platform, right? And he goes, what is that? I go, that's all your jobs, dude. Like, these are all your invoices. Here, look, I click PDF. There's your CSV file, PDF file report for this job. So I go, that's kind of cool. I go, yeah. You're building a spreadsheet. I already built it for you, and I'm dyslexic. Like, let's go, man. Let's go,
And C-levels, they don't even, it's like the delegation down, right? Like, we got all this whole stuff. We need to do this. But then once they put it together, they set it and forget it and be like, I don't know, something else is doing. And like, have you ever had a conversation with the end user to see if this initiative, oh yeah, we did for surveys and focus groups, everything else. But outside of that, like, we run into it. Once you get the approver on board, they're like, yeah, okay, we're approved to use it. You're in. And you don't go and talk to the dispatcher, and you don't go talk to the people that are using it, service manager. All you did is just give them another option on their desk to use. And then 6 months later, you're worried, like, how come they're not using this? And like, because they got 5 other options and you're the 5th option of the 5.
Yeah. Have you even asked your own team what they like or what they need, before you built it? Like we had some meetings with a very large broker nationwide. They're huge. And, like, oh, we're going to build the same thing. So I go, okay, well, we're going to be competition. Then I showed them what we built, and they're like, wait a minute, this is completely opposite of what we thought. I go, yeah, because you guys are stuck in a different world. You never even asked, a equipment rental guy, the branch, the front desk person, what they need, what's their pain. I've asked that for 8 years, but still, it's funny because, we spoke to them for a long time, and then, the conversations, again, there was a licensing opportunity there, and it ended up not working out. And I know what they're doing. They're going to try and build their own product, right? But good luck, man. Like I said, I'm a pirate. Good luck. I'm gonna find you out in the open sea, and I'm gonna bury you, man. I got bigger cannons because I think about this 20.
I can sail in shallow waters that you can't.
There you go. That's it. And I just think about this 24/7, and I do think, like I said, I know I've answered the call in terms of the pain points, but it's hard, man. It's a struggle. You guys are 2-3 years into it, right? Yeah, I'm 10 years into it, and I just kept my head down. I'm super thankful that I'm at the place now, and I feel like for the first time ever, people like you are popping up. I'm like, okay, I like it. I just like how the conversations are starting to happen, and keep going, man. Like LinkedIn. I'm like, I never was on LinkedIn until like 2 years ago. I'm like, what the hell is LinkedIn? Because I'm an old dog, right? But I'm like, I gotta get, I like to talk. I go, why am I not on podcasts and social media? Like, why am I not posting all the time?
Yeah, my team drugged me on this, and that's the only social media presence I have is LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then I'm told by some of the people over with, hey, you got to sign in to LinkedIn and check your profile.
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
once a week, I'll get a phone call saying, have you checked your LinkedIn? I was like, no.
Right. But it's a powerful tool. And, I think you guys got to start bombing stuff like that, because I think it's powerful and people are paying attention. They may not respond or comment on your stuff, but people are looking now more than ever.
Cool. This has been fantastic.
No, it's great, man. I really appreciate. Listen, let's do this more, guys. Let's do it more. If you guys want me on anytime, let's go.
Yep. Stay in touch.
I will. I'm going to shoot
over.
If
you know anybody also too that you think that would align perfectly, that's good storyteller, that would have some valuable content to just share the message of what we're all trying to do.
Yeah.
Shoot them our way.
I do think I think you guys are so smart, and maybe this is a revenue stream for you too. Like a podcast is I think it's needed in the industry. I really do. I think you guys are actually very personable as well on camera. JP, you're from the film industry. I'm from creative. I think the industry needs it more talk, more discussion, and having people on a panel. Having a guy like me, having a contractor, I think that's where it's about. And I think as we go, when I start having conversations with people and, maybe a large contractor, if I've got a couple guys I want to try and win over, and it's like, have them on, have a real PM, have a project manager on, oh yeah, that's the biggest pain point. I think that could be powerful.
Yeah. I'm going to try to go with guys from Skanska or Bechtel that I know. That are,
Bechtel. So Bechtel has their own, I've tried to talk to them before. They've got their own VC firm.
Yep.
Or, and
that's Brendan's side. I know some of the partners and stuff. So I know how,
man. And listen, I've bootstrapped this on my own. I don't have any funding yet. And I've tried to get it to where I don't need any funding. Me and my partner own it all. And it's really about who wants to help us really scale the hell out of it, But it's there, man. And, it's all about what you guys are doing and us. We are in the right road. It's just who's going to win it all, Not even all, but who's going to get a chunk of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, I've got definitely 5 transpo guys I'm going to shoot over to you guys.
Okay.
Awesome.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Mike.
Yeah, it's been awesome, guys.
And Scott, great conversation. And we're gonna see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys. Have a good one.
Well, everyone, that is a wrap for today's episode of Beyond the Build. We took away some real valuable lessons and insights, and I hope that you did as well.
If you enjoyed this episode, we would ask that you subscribe so you can never miss an update. If you're a thought leader looking to innovate in the construction industry, let's talk. We'd love to connect and hear your thoughts.
You can find Beyond the Build on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, plus anywhere else that you listen. And if you'd like to learn more about how Faro is changing logistics in the construction industry, please visit our website at faronow.com.
Once again, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, be humble, serve others, and make an impact.